Before I get started with this video, some of you are going to say, oh, that's gross. How can you do that? Remember, these people had respect before this happened to them. This could be you someday, or it can be your mother, your father, or one of your siblings. So stop and think before you say anything. They need care and they need love. The one thing I will say, working in a care home, I didn't see many relatives coming to visit, and that is so sad. Yeah, they may not know you, but you should still go and visit. When working with somebody who has advanced dementia, you have to be very careful. The person can become violent. Also, they can bite you, scratch you, punch you, and even knock you down if they're strong enough. And believe you me, a lot of them are very strong. When I first started working with Mrs. Smith, it seemed that just as I was ready to go off shift, she would mess her diaper. If I wasn't there to change it right away, she would fling it in every direction. I mean, every direction. I'd do my rounds just before I'd get off work. I'd come to her room and, oh, I could smell it right away. So, of course, I was always late getting off shift. I'd have to bath her and change her, and then change all the bedding too, of course, and wipe everything down. Anyways, I just kept working with her and talking with her. When I first started working with her, you could not have her teeth put in because she would bite you. Mrs. Smith was not a morning person, but I did find a way around that. I found that if I woke her up first, then went around to the rest of the residents that I looked after, and then came back to her, she was a lot more manageable. So that made my day a lot easier. I always talked with my residents while I worked with them. This made them more manageable. I'm not sure if they understood me. I still talked to them. One morning, I got her ready for her breakfast. She couldn't walk. You had to bathe her, dress her, diaper her, so you had to lift her into the geriatric chair. I had put her teeth in because it was breakfast. Then I lifted her to put her in her chair, and she put her arms around my neck. Then I realized, uh-oh, she's going to bite me in the shoulder. So I went to set her into her chair, but she kept hanging on to me. She finally let go, and she said, I'm going home with you. Well, I was so astonished to hear her say anything, because the only thing she ever said for the first 6 months while I worked there was, hurry up, I'm hungry. So this really took me by surprise. I told the RN, do you know what Mrs. Smith did? And then I told her. She says, yeah, she used to do that quite a lot, but she hasn't been very talkative for a long time. And usually she fights everyone. She must really like you. Another day, she really surprised me. Shortly before I was getting ready to go off shift, she was wide awake when I went into her room, and she looked at me and she said, I'm dirty, you know. So I checked. I said, no, you're fine. I'm dirty, you know. And then all of a sudden she messed her diaper. After that, she would tell me. As soon as I'd come into the room before the shift was over, she'd say, "I'm dirty, you know." And I'd check, and yep, either she was just starting to mess her diaper or she had just done it. But she never flung it the way she used to when I first started working with her. So that made my days so much easier, not having to clean up before I went off shift.